You have lost both of them. A 3-month-old granddaughter with a high fever and her mother were left to sleep in a freezing kitchen by the daughter's husband because he said he didn't want to catch anything. The next morning, a call came to my daughter's cell phone.
Where the hell did you go? What about my breakfast?
Hearing only about himself and showing no concern for my daughter and granddaughter, I held back my anger and calmly told him they had passed away.
What?
After a long silence, he started making excuses.
This is all your fault. You better be ready.
At my cold words, he abruptly hung up. He won't get away with this. So I began my quest for revenge on behalf of my daughter and granddaughter. My name is Macon. Soon after my daughter Emily was born, I divorced her father. He was reckless with money and I felt I couldn't raise Emily with him around. From then on, I worked hard to raise Emily by myself. From a young age, Emily took on household chores in my absence and was always considerate of how I was feeling, a truly kind child. However, she was so gentle-hearted that I worried. She often found it hard to express her feelings. When Emily told me she was getting married, I was filled with both joy and apprehension. Her fiancé, Ronald, was 2 years older and seemed very proud working at a top-tier company. They met when he visited Emily's company for business and was smitten with her at first sight. After that, their relationship developed somewhat aggressively, or so I heard. At first, Emily turned him down, but maybe his persistence appealed to her, making him seem reliable. After about 6 months of dating, they found out they were expecting and decided to marry. He would often say things like,
I can make a woman happy. As my wife, you should obey me.
Which made me a bit uneasy. Are you sure about him? Of course, it would be sad without a father, right? Hearing those words, I was struck silent, realizing that Emily, who had never once complained about not having a father, might have felt that way all along. Time passed and Emily's belly grew, signaling the approach of childbirth. How's married life treating you? Maybe, but I would like to be with Mom when I give birth. That sounds great. You're always welcome here. Throughout her pregnancy, her husband seemed supportive, massaging her back during severe morning sickness and even helping with household chores. Yet the word maybe did leave me somewhat unsettled. A month before giving birth, Emily came back home and we lived together for a bit, just like the old times. During this time, she opened about her marital life. In the beginning, everything was blissful with romantic dinners on anniversaries and such, but on bad days at work, he would lash out at Emily, only to revert to being the gentle Ronald the very next day. There were times he would shout and break things in rage. Hearing this, I got a bad feeling about the emotionally volatile Ronald. He's never hit you, right? No, never. Maybe I'm just causing his outbursts with my behavior. Seeing the sadness in her furrowed brows, I said, It's not your fault. He's just got a temper. I know. I'll try to be more assertive. With a hesitant smile, she nodded. I advised, just in case if he says anything concerning may be recorded. Emily simply replied, I'll keep that in mind. Later on, Emily gave birth to a beautiful baby girl named Luna. With Luna crying for milk every 3 hours, time flew, and before I knew it, Emily was heading back home with her little one. My now empty home felt a bit lonely, but the thought of Emily visiting again with a slightly older Luna kept my spirits up. However, that hope was shattered one night, about 3 months after the birth, by an urgent phone call. Mom, please help! Hearing my distraught daughter, I knew something was amiss and immediately drove over. Before I could even ring the doorbell, a disheveled Emily clutching Luna emerged. What happened? When I touched her flushed face, she was burning up with fever. It's so hot. Are you okay? I'm fine. Just please help her. Luna, the baby she handed over, felt feverishly hot. Even when called out to, Luna only gave weak responses. Things seemed dire for the little one. Where's Ronald? It's past 1 o'clock. He should be home, right? He's at home, but... Wondering what she meant, I headed to their bedroom to check on Ronald. It seemed as if he was passed out, likely from drinking too much. He didn't respond at all when I tried to wake him up. I hurriedly put my daughter and Luna in the car and raced to the hospital. Upon arrival, the doctors immediately attended to them. Their faces looked very concerned. Luna, who I took in my arms, was burning up and barely responded when I called out to her. As I stayed beside Luna's bed, Emily, my daughter, weakly opened her eyes and began explaining what had happened. Both Emily and Luna apparently had caught a severe cold, with temperatures rising to over 104 degrees Fahrenheit, and had been resting in the bedroom. Yet Ronald, after returning from work late at night, had yelled at them saying he didn't want to catch the cold. He had forced them out of the bedroom and even made them sleep in the freezing kitchen. All he provided was a single blanket he tossed at them. At first, they tried to fend off the cold with that blanket, but eventually the cold became too much to bear. Emily had tried to return to the bedroom at one point, but fearing another angry outburst from Ronald, she had retreated. Desperately, she had managed to grab her cell phone and call me for help. He's done things like this before, like when Luna cried at night, he would throw us out because he said he couldn't sleep. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I didn't want to burden you, Mom. You've already done so much for me, especially during the delivery. You're my daughter. It's natural for kids to turn to their parents for help. If I rely on you more, I feel like I can't do anything on my own. Tears streamed down Emily's face. As I tried to wipe them away, I noticed faint bruises on her arm. What happened here? No, nothing, really. There's obviously something. Tell me. I promise I won't get mad. At first, Emily remained silent, but eventually she started opening up. She had been raising Luna all by herself. Ronald not only refused to help, but seemed indifferent to Luna. Worse still, when Luna wouldn't stop crying during meals, he would angrily tell her, "It's your fault she won't stop," and once even grabbed and shoved her to the ground. She had thought about reaching out to me multiple times. However, the day after such incidents, Ronald would oddly become kind and help around the house, confusing her about his true nature. Seeing Emily in tears as she spoke, I was determined to protect both her and Luna. "You have been so strong until now. You don't need to push yourself anymore. Thanks, Mom." With that, my daughter drifted back into a deep sleep. With a heavy heart, I stayed awake all night, hoping for Emily and Luna's recovery. The next morning, Emily's cell phone rang loudly. It was Ronald yelling on the other end.
Where the hell are you? What about my breakfast?
He seemed to think I was his wife ranting.
You think you can just leave? You just need to do as you're told.
Do you mean, Emily by you?
Mother-in-law, why are you?
Caught off guard, he shifted.
It's been a while. What happened?
It seems you have treated Emily quite poorly.
What are you talking about? I have no clue.
Taking a deep breath, holding back tears, I told him, "We are in the hospital. Sadly, it's too late. You have lost them both."
What?
There was a moment of silence, leaving Ronald dumbfounded. It was clear he was deeply shaken on the other end.
What kind of joke is this? Mother-in-law, that's a low blow even for you.
It's no joke. This is all your fault.
My fault? I didn't do anything wrong.
He tried to sound calm, but it was clear he wasn't remorseful about leaving Emily suffering from a high fever in a cold kitchen during winter. I could barely contain my anger.
Besides, it's not my fault they caught a cold. They got sick on their own, and now I'm dealing with the inconvenience.
Don't play games. If you keep this up, I can involve the police. The moment he heard the word police, I could hear him swallow hard.
What are you talking about? You have no proof.
We'll see about that. I don't even want anything to do with you again. We'll handle everything from here on out. Don't contact us anymore. He seemed to want to say something else, but I hung up. I'm sorry, this is all I could do. Thinking of Emily and Luna, I couldn't stop the tears. A couple of months later, Ronald suddenly stormed into her house.
Hey, bring her out. I know she's alive.
What are you talking about? Out of the blue?
Don't play dumb. I saw them with my own eyes.
Ronald claimed that he saw them walking in a park during his work break. He tried to chase them down but lost sight of them when he got a call.
I thought I might be seeing things, but I'm sure it was them. You told me you lost them, right?
He was so furious, spittle flying from his mouth, that I smirked and replied, "Oh, did I say that?"
What are you talking about?
His rage intensified at my feigned ignorance, his eyes even sharper than usual.
It's strange that I haven't received any paperwork or procedures after that. You're hiding them from me, aren't you? I know they're here.
Maybe you're just imagining things. His voice grew louder and angrier, his face turning a deep shade of red and the veins on his forehead looked ready to burst.
Enough with the nonsense, old hag. There are things you should and shouldn't say. Why do you have it out for me anyway?
Well, there's plenty to resent.
I'm a top-tier guy who settled for plain Emily. She should be grateful.
I sighed heavily at his words. I despise that about you, and I haven't lied.
You're lying. You told me they both died.
What I meant was only you lost them, not me. His rage exploded at my words, knocking over whatever he could reach, including a rather expensive vase. He probably acted the same way around Emily. I watched him, keeping my cool.
Just bring her out already. I need the housekeeper for chores, though I don't care much for the noisy brat.
Stop it. Acting this way won't get you to Emily, and saying you don't need your own child? You have no right to call yourself a parent.
I don't need to hear that from you. They are my blood, so they're mine, right?
That's not the point. Do you think you'll get away with this? I'll call the police.
It's your fault for lying about her death. Just bring her here now.
His words were relentless, making any conversation impossible. I reluctantly took out the voice recorder I had. Seeing it, Ronald froze.
What's that?
Evidence of what you did to Emily. When I pressed play, the recording revealed his hurtful words to Emily. Hearing it, he paled.
You really can't do anything, right? Must be your parents' bad upbringing. And shut up, stop talking back, and don't let the baby cry forever.
Were among his shouts. Between his outbursts, Emily sobbed, "I'm sorry," could be heard, making my heart ache. Sounds of him throwing objects were also recorded. Hearing the recording, Ronald started to tremble.
How on earth did you get this? That woman?
I told her to record it just in case.
So you orchestrated this? What a dirty move, and you call yourself a mother?
Exactly, because I am a mother. I don't want to see Emily hurt. Insurance is important.
Both of you are just despicable.
If you ask 100 people, all 100 would say you're worse. There's no way I'm returning Emily to someone like you. I then presented him with the divorce papers that Emily had signed. Staring at them, Ronald was in utter shock.
What is this?
It's a divorce petition. It's pretty clear. Can you sign it quickly and leave?
Hold on, please wait. If word gets out about the divorce, it'll be bad for my reputation at the company.
Seems he's really concerned about damaging his elite image. He's making a big fuss about it. Always caring about public image, yet utterly incapable of showing any concern for his wife.
Please, I'm begging you, I don't want a divorce.
Judging by his almost tearful voice, this would have significant repercussions on his future career. If you don't sign here, we're taking this to court. You do realize you would be at a huge disadvantage, right?
But let me see her first.
There's no way I'm exposing Emily to any danger.
Please, I beg you, I'll apologize for everything. I truly love her.
All his earlier bravado was gone. Seeing him plead in tears was pitiful. Part of me wanted Emily to witness this, but getting him to sign the divorce papers was the top priority. Listening to his whining was beginning to get on my nerves. You brought all of this on yourself. With that ridiculous pride of yours, just sign it already.
No.
What? Hold on a minute. Suddenly, Ronald bolted. He must have been panicking quite a lot when he tripped at the front door, getting mud and grass all over him. He didn't look anything like the polished executive I once knew. I immediately contacted my lawyer and, following their advice, reported the incident to the police. He was arrested at his home, initially on suspicion of property damage. Later on, he was also charged with assault against both of us. In the end, between alimony and child support, we were able to secure about $80,000. It was a small relief given the circumstances. Once his criminal record became known at his workplace, colleagues started avoiding him, fearing his violent tendencies. He couldn't handle the isolation and eventually resigned on his own. Well, he brought it all on himself. I have no sympathy for him. Mom, she just spoke. Did you hear it? She said, Mommy. I began living with Emily and Luna. Emily mentioned moving out and getting a job, but I can't bear the thought of her going through the same ordeal again. Some might say I'm overprotective, but she's my precious daughter, and Luna is my beloved granddaughter. Nowadays, Emily's smiles and watching Luna grow up have become my greatest sources of energy and joy.